These are Zhongyi Optics brand spanking new T1 Speedmaster cine lenses, and they may be the best ZY lenses I've tested, and I will show you why. Hi, it's Cheng here from RED35. The last time I tested and reviewed ZY Speedmaster cine lenses for Micro Four Thirds was exactly 2 years ago, a time when I couldn't go out due to lockdowns in London. And 2 years on, ZY has released a brand new set of these ultra-fast T1 Speedmasters, but this time it's for APS-C format, and I'm thrilled to have it tested on my ZF-C. The set I received from Zhongyi Optics has 3 lenses, the 20mm, the 35, and the 50mm. At time of making this video, information on these lenses is provisional and may not reflect the final production. But if you're keen to find out more, I will have the link in the description so you can check out all the specifics and latest pricing on them. But I do know you can buy them individually or as a set, which comes with this very strong bomb-proof case. So, it's been 2 years since I last touched ZY Optics T1 cine lenses. And how much have they improved? Well, let's find out. Well, here's the good thing. Zhongyi has kept everything I love about the original Speedmasters that I reviewed previously. Full metal housing and the thick teeth, focus and aperture rings that make these Speedmaster lenses look and feel professional and premium, despite the price, which I will talk about later. Focus is smooth in all 3 lenses, but my early examples, the 20mm has a slightly stiffer focusing ring than the other 2. Not a big deal, and perhaps it will loosen up after some use. An aperture is clickless, of course, and feels assertive and well damped. So whether you're using them by hand or follow focus, they will have the precision needed for some serious filming. Well done, Zhongyi. To simplify matters, all 3 Speedmaster lenses have the same dimensions, with a diameter of 88mm and 93mm in length. Is quite compact for T1 lenses. A standardized size makes hot swapping lenses on rigs or gimbals possible. But you may need to be a little bit more careful with the latter, as 3 lenses have very different weights. So unless your gimbal has a very high payload capacity, you may be wise to rebalance if you are going to use one lens on an extended period of time. Oh, but the 50mm lens can only be adapted on APS-C format cameras. And this time, there is no Micro Four Thirds options, but the 50mm can be used on full-frame bodies. Overall, these Speedmasters feel as good as ever. I recall my original review said that it will be prudent to say image quality for cine lenses, as they are designed to be used for moving pictures, not static stills. But anyway, this is important for any cinematographer and to some extent photographers, as you know that I use cine lenses for stills too. As you can see, at T1, all 3 lenses perform similarly, with some minor halo that diffuses the light and appear softer than it actually is. Stopping down to T2 completely transforms the performance, which becomes excellent. Peak arrives at T5.6 and diffraction kicks in at T11. And one phenomenon I noticed during my test is that there's a color shift at T1 and from T11 to T16, which a magenta hue is cast all over the entire frame. More strange is that this phenomenon is not targeted to one lens, but consistent on all 3 lenses. Well, not really a big deal, as you are most likely to use an ND filter to adjust the light input instead of aperture anyway. But something to bear in mind indeed. Edge performance is similar to what I remember with the MFT version 2 years ago. At T1, edge is softer and appear to have details smeared. But surprisingly, stopping down to T2, you can get an edge-to-edge sharpness on the 20mm lens, and definitely improve from the original MFT version. Both 35 and 50mm need to stop down further to get more sharpness. And all three lenses get peak performance at T5.6 before diffraction softens the image again at T16. This is where Speedmasters different to the likes of Sirui and Laowa. Zhongyi lenses are always more traditional in terms of draw. And this is of course a personal preference and depends on the type of films you're making. And I think the rendering is more in line with 80s and 90s if you're shooting wide open. And because how the sharpness changes in smaller aperture, you can get some modern looking footage if you stop down to T2 or 2.8. Bokeh has a very old school 60s, 70s feel, so it can be quite interesting if you're making some period movies. One of the main criteria for being a good video lens is the ability to control breathing while focusing. It's not a big deal if you're filming some B-rolls for a location, but as soon as you start racking 2 points between subjects, well, any visible breathing will distract the viewer and diminish the effect of focus pull if not managed well. And this is why I have to mention breathing in any of my cine lenses reviews. But fortunately, even at this affordable price point, Zhongyi manages to control the breathing well enough to not appear in any of the clips I made. And I applaud them for that, so bravo. Another plus is aberrations. All Speedmaster lenses have pretty good fringe control, even at T1, which usually the worst. However, Vignette is very visible, which you lose about a stop-up light at T1 and still visible until T2.8. But my experience tells me that this is consistent to all ultra-fast cine lenses I've tested around the same price point, and something you need to take into account and make sure you correct them in post if you don't want to see any dark corners. Once again, I would say Zhongyi did a good job in making these lenses, especially when you consider the price. $499 for an individual lens and $12.99 for the entire set, which I think is a bargain for a set of T1 lenses, especially when it comes to a huge case like this. But what's my verdict on these T1 Speedmasters? Should you avoid them, consider them, shortlist them, or just go ahead and buy them? Well, I think you should shortlist them. And like I said, the price is very enticing. And considering the performance you get from these lenses, well, it's a pretty easy decision if you can get past a few things. First, the slightly softer, wide-open images, and that inconsistent magenta hue that plays a certain aperture range. And second, the colors of these three lenses are not matched. Well, not in a way that Sirui's latest Nightwalker T1.2 does. So, if you can live with these characteristics and don't mind spending a little bit more time in color matching and correction, then they are pretty good. With good sharpness, with no visible fringings or breathing. Distortion is pretty much non-existent apart from a slight barrel distortion with the 20mm lens. Yeah, they are okay. Zhongyi's new Speedmaster is a step up from their previous endeavor for sure, and still sell for around the same price. But it only falls short on what Sirui's latest offering, though not by much. The saving grace for Zhongyi is the T1 aperture against Sirui's T1.2. And there is a lot to like about the Speedmasters. So, if you do decide to buy them, well, you won't regret them. So, this is it. And what do you think about Zhongyi's latest T1 Speedmasters? Let's have a chat in the comment section below. And you know what to do now. Sub if you want to stay in touch with all things photography, filmmaking, and of course, gear review. Peace. Welcome to my bonus section. Yes, I do like Zhongyi Optics cine lenses, and they are very good value. Like I said, $499 for a lens and $1,300 for the entire set that comes with a huge bulletproof case. Yeah, it is a bargain. And I am very impressed with all the recent releases from China. And the Series T1.2 Nightwalker, which I recently reviewed, they are fantastic. They are definitely more compact than this, but they are T1.2. I know it's only 0.2 difference in T terms, but a little bit is a little bit, right? If you really want to squeeze out all the light from whatever is around in the ambience, and yeah, T1 does make a difference compared to T1.2. Only if you really need to push that kind of light envelope in a very low light environment. Yeah, in general, Laowa Series and Zhongyi Optics, they produce brilliant budget cine lenses that won't break your bank. Basically, I like them. I like them, and I personally, my production is fairly low value, compared to high-end budgets. I don't make feature films. I don't make high-value commercial content. I do make short films and here and there for companies and brands, and I don't need to have the high-end kind of look to it. And to be quite honest, even if you get a very expensive cine lens and adapt it to any of the consumer level cameras, you probably won't kind of get the rewards anyway. The consumer level cameras just never had the same quality compared to the high-end cine cameras, which you may have to spend like 40,000-50,000 pounds per unit. So yeah, like you gotta have the right tool for the right job, and if you have the budget, yeah, for sure, go for the RELXs and have some brilliant cine lenses that cost you a fortune. But if you don't, yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with these cheaper lenses. And quite honestly, these are very good for learning and also for practicing. They have the same kind of operation teeth, so you need to use follow focus. You need to rig it up to use these sort of equipment. So it's a good practice if you really want to get into the filmmaking industry. And so it's good. And as still photographers, and I do think these sometimes represent quite good values as well, because first of all, there's no breathing, and then and also they tend to be quite unique in terms of look. And I do like that kind of like old school vintage look when it comes to a certain type of photography that I do, especially in black and white. So even for photographers, I actually think these are pretty good lenses, if you ask me. And yeah, they may be bigger than normal because yeah, they have to account for the actual overall design for cine lenses, such as the teeth, aperture, and focus ring, and usually they do come with basically similar sizes for the reasons that I mentioned before, so you can swap lenses quite easily on the rig and things like that. But they are also lenses that can perform in the photography world. And yeah, I just generally find them interesting. But anyway, this is the end of today's video, and hope that you guys enjoy and find my footage a little bit interesting. Just want to show you a little bit more about London, and I have a lot more reviews to come, and I just haven't got the time recently because I've been working non-stop through the summertime. This is my peak season now. That's why I'm a little bit slow. And one thing I want to mention is that the light that I'm using is actually very good, which I'll do a short review for. And this is the GVM video light, and it's very small, very compact, and very soft with the diffusers on. And it's actually really, really good quality, and more importantly, very affordable, which is the main thing, right? I'm cheap sometimes, so but cheap is good. It won't break my wallet as long as it performs. That's what matters. Anyway, like I said, a lot to come, and I just have to pay patient for it. And I'm hoping that I will show you more reviews very soon. And yeah, let me get through my work period first. Money first. Anyway, hope you guys have a good day and enjoy yourself. Keep shooting, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.